If you're seeing and hearing things that aren't there while you're awake, you're mad. If you're asleep, you're normal and having a dream. So it's the question of whether you're awake or asleep that makes the difference. And in his case, since he wasn't allowed to sleep, it's as though his normal dreaming pattern began to show itself.
But strangely, whenever it was time for Tripp to do his show, the delusions would disappear, and the fluid DJ patter would resurface.
Everything record of the year. Now, this particular song around this whole part of the world was not number one the most times, but it was in the top 10 for a fantastic amount of time, thereby circumventing a lot.
He was clearly psychotic. When you don't know where you are or who you are or what's really going on around you, and when you believe that there are strange and ominous forces at work, and when you're seeing things and hearing things that aren't there, then you're psychotic.
As the 200-hour goal approached, West and Cornelison became increasingly concerned.
On the very last night, he was so far out of it that we were hard-pressed to keep from calling an end to the whole thing. But by that time, we were ourselves pulling for him to make it to the end. And we thought that, hey, we're psychiatrists and physicians. We'll keep this guy going and on his feet, even though he's crazy as a loon.
There Peter was, trying to stay awake when I knew every hour must be miserable for him. I saw his beautiful, pregnant wife sitting there with him, wondering, I hope he can make it, and trying to cheer him on, but I'm sure she was terribly frightened.
He reached the point where he confided that people thought he was Peter Tripp, when really he wasn't. He was an imposter. He was someone else pretending to be Peter Tripp.
On the last evening of the experiment, the team again monitored Tripp's brainwaves. They discovered that he had somehow entered an altered state of consciousness.
Peter Tripp was awake, knew he was awake, and still his sleep record was that of asleep. He was asleep, and yet walking around functioning. Eyes opening, talking with all of us, and he was asleep, which is really remarkable.
On the night of January 28th, Tripp achieved his goal and broke the world record for sleeplessness.
But please, take it easy tonight. Drive carefully. The life you saved might be mine, and I don't want to die yet. I'll see you.
After staying awake for 201 hours, Tripp finally went to bed and slept for 24. When he awoke, the delusions had gone.
At first, he felt that he was unaffected, that he was back to normal, perfectly normal again. But his wife didn't think so. And in fact, their marriage started to go bad after that, and they ended up getting divorced.
The man I saw the first morning that he began this, when he was waving at everybody through the glass windows and smiling and laughing and joking with us, after the 200 hours had become a changed individual.
In the months that followed, Tripp seemed unable to recover his center of gravity. He fought with his boss and lost his job. He ended up as a salesman, drifting from town to town across America. Those that knew him well were convinced that those 8 days without sleep had left him permanently damaged.
We really didn't think about it. We didn't think about it carefully enough to know what the problems might be. This was a dangerous kind of thing, and we did it carefully, but I think if we had thought about it a little more carefully, we would have had some objections to it.
As of now, scientists aren't certain why it is that some of us enter this altered state of consciousness, somewhere between waking and sleeping. Nor do they know why it is that we so often feel rage or terror in these states. What is certain is that we've only just begun to explore the mysteries of the sleeping mind.